Hey everyone, it is Sam from Aperilife, and in today's video we are going to talk about things that I think are important for you to know in your summer vacation travels this summer in Italy, or any summer in Italy whenever you're watching this. So this year, 2023, the frequency of routes going to Italy has amped up tremendously. There are so many flights going to Italy. You have, of course, I think United's going to Naples, Delta's going basically everywhere except Naples, the major three airports. You have them increasing frequency of going to Rome, Venice, Milano. So you have it's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of frustration. It's hot as heck in Italy in the summer. And there are so many things that you will experience that you probably were not expecting to experience during your holiday. And there are certain things that could actually ruin your holiday. First thing on the list is that locals stare. Do not ask me why. I do not know why Italians stare. I don't know why they stare. But Italians are notorious for staring at people. And it's something that isn't really personal. My partner actually started to notice it. I pointed it out to him when we first started dating, and he thought it was nuts. He's like, oh, nobody's staring at you. And now even he notices it. We recently went on vacation to the Tuscan seaside, and he pointed it out, and it was it's kind of something that once you've been living in Italy for a while, you kind of tune out or whatever. But it is something, especially if you are a person of color, that you will look and you will almost find it as being aggressive, and or you'll find yourself seeming as if you are being watched in a way of what's this black person doing? What's this? What's that? And that is something that actually does happen. But in this case, there's a type of staring of you walking down the street, you walking to get ice cream, you eating at a restaurant. Italians will stop what they're doing and they will look at you. So there's a few things that I do to kind of combat this. One of the main things being that I just ignore it. It's not personal. At least I don't feel like it's personal. I almost feel like Italians are more curious than anything. And so I just treat it such as if a baby's looking at me. I'm like, why don't these people know that's not appropriate? It's not for my, it's nothing that I can do about it, but I don't find it being appropriate. So I just okay, I just let that do what it does, and it passes so quickly. Another thing we do is we stare back, and it's almost like a staring contest. And Italians have this thing that when they are caught doing something that is obviously not appropriate, because I feel like if you tell an Italian that they're staring, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. They will definitely be much more flustered by it. So I stare back, and then it kind of puts them in a place of oh my God, it's almost like they're shy. And then also, and another way to make them fluster is I wave, hi, I see you, move it along, move it along, move it along. So that's the first thing on the list. Italians stare. It's something that you should not get upset about, but it is something that they do, and it's something that could kind of annoy you in your summer travels. And I am telling you this so that you do not have it as, as something on your back that you're pissed about the entire time. So that's the first thing. Italians stare. The next thing here is that there are going to be so many crowds in Italy. I don't think that people understand the amount of crowds they are going to encounter while they are in Italy this summer. It's going to be hectic. Most Italians actually go to the seaside if they can. If you're not working in tourism, you're going to the sea, you're going to your mountain house. If you are working in tourism, you're going to try to take weekends away or a few days away to visit a cooler areas, which is the sea. Italians love taking a dip in the water. They love cooling down. They love gelato. They love their little tiny bikinis and their costumi of relaxing on the beach. They absolutely love that. So you will see a lot of crowds in Italy, and most of them will be foreigners. They will not be crowds that are of Italian. So you have to expect this, and you actually have to plan appropriately because of this. So plan that when you go to the train station, that little tight connection, you might not be able to make it because there's going to be so many crowds. There's going to be so many crowds at the train station. You getting to the airport late, you might not make your flight because there's going to be such a long line for immigration and passport control. Last year, it was an absolute disaster. I'm going to try to include the video here if I can find it. It was an absolute disaster when it came to the airports. The lines were so long. It was so unpleasant. And me going home as a regular civilian was not enjoyable because I had to wait in that really long line. And I say a regular civilian because I can also visit Italy as an employee, as a flight attendant when I'm working. And, you know, when you're working, you get to bypass those crowds, especially at the airport. But it's so frustrating. And there's so many people that miss their flights. They put themselves in very uncomfortable positions. Also, if you are going to see the Colosseum, the Pantheon, if you're going to see the Vatican, you're going to have to wait in these extreme lines. So I'm just telling you all this as a heads up to prepare for it. It's not going to be pleasant, especially visiting in the high season, And it's just something you have to prepare for. The next thing, which is piggybacking off of the crowds, is the long lines that you're going to experience with so many things. So once again, that's with the airport, that's with entering. So that's number 3, with entering the Vatican. You're going to have to wait in a lot of instances at the airport to get checked in. You're going to have so many people. For some reason with Italy, people, you have young people that travel, but you have a lot of people who travel with their kids, and they have people who travel with elderly people, which means that these people are moving slower. And if you have a person with kids, you're going around like strollers and stuff. It's just hectic. It is really hectic. And once again, this is the third thing. It's almost just like a little, like a little asterisk along with the last point, but it's something to prepare for. And it's going to be a long summer. The fourth thing on the list here, the fourth thing is the heat. Italian summers are really hot. They're really hot. And it's not like they're hot to where you can just you're going to oh, I'm going to go home and just cool down. I think a lot of us don't really understand how little we are out in the heat. In the US, we find ourselves in air conditioned like how many percentage of the day? How often? Think about it now. How often are you in the heat? Most people are not in the heat on a regular basis. And then when you add in, you have your family, you have a stroller, you have somebody who is limited mobility, you have hunger, you have crowds. When you had all that in, it only compiles, and things become even hotter. So the heat in Italy, it gets to 37, 39 degrees Celsius, which, hey Siri, how hot is 39 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit? So it gets to 102 degrees. It gets hot. And as I said in my last point, my last couple of points, Italians do go to the seaside during the summer because it gets so ridiculously hot. It's just not enjoyable at all. And not everywhere has air conditioning. And also, a lot of hotels, your air conditioning will not get really cold. So I would suggest, if you're a person that gets really hot, to buy some little USB fans so you can carry around the city with you, or some misters. Definitely to stay hydrated. You don't want to be drinking so much alcohol. I always kind of suggest that people who come to Italy, that you go out early in the morning, even though you're going to be jet lagged and all that other stuff. You go out early in the morning, you come back to the hotel, you have like a little siesta, and then you go back out at night. That is simply because it is so hot. And when you add in all of the buildings, all of the crowds, you feel like you're in a pizza oven. The next thing here, number 5 on the list, is food. The food that you are used to eating in the States that you consider Italian food, guys, it's not Italian food. It is not Italian food. It is completely different. So one thing that I would suggest you all doing now is looking up traditional Italian food. Especially if you're going to be going to Florence, if you're going to be going to Rome, which are like the most cliche places to kind of be going, which most people want to go to. But there is not like a fettuccine, chicken Alfredo, shrimp Alfredo type of thing. That is not Italian food. Italians, one, they eat relatively, I consider it kind of basic, because there are a lot of not the same elements, but you do have not a lot of tons of seasoning that is in there. You have a lot of herbs and things of that sort. But like how in the black community we put rub and all this stuff on our barbecue and all the other stuff, you don't see Italians doing a lot of that. That is not traditional Italian food. And Italians don't mix dishes with seafood and cheese, so you're not going to find like a shrimp Alfredo. A chicken fettuccine, that's not something that's common. Spaghetti with meatballs, that's something that's not common, because spaghetti is a primi, which is a pasta-based dish. And then the meat is like a secondi, which is a meat. So it's going to be a fish or a beef or whatever, red meat or whatever the heck whatever you prefer. But like those two dishes aren't two dishes that will go together. So you would either order like polpetto, which is meatball, and then you would order like a pasta, but you wouldn't have them two served together. It's just not something that's common. So when it comes to food, I would definitely suggest that you all research common Italian dishes, or what is not an Italian dish, because then that will actually give you an idea of what you could order, what you should order, what you should try. There are tons of pasta that you should try. There's tons of vegetables in Italy that I feel do not get enough of a highlight in American cuisine. And so you should definitely look up, and specifically you should look up food that you should try in each region. You know, like you go to Memphis, you go to Houston, you go to Seattle, there's certain things that you say, oh, this town is known for that. Like if I go to the Pacific Northwest, I'm going to say, maybe I want to have some seafood, you know? And then if I go to like Memphis or Houston, maybe I want some, you know, like some barbecue. I go to Florida, maybe I want to try fried gator. Maybe I want catfish. Maybe I want like key lime pie. Like there are certain things that are like specific to a region. Sorry, just making sure this mic is on. And that's something that you should also look up. I had a friend recently point out how Puglia, which my partner is from, she pointed out that she heard that Puglia is very vegetarian friendly. And I never thought about it before. And I was like, holy crap, you are so right. Never thought about it, but it is very vegetarian friendly. And a lot of the dishes are just so simple and so good. And they're things that I would have never considered making in the States. All right, guys, the next thing here on the list is your attire. Your attire. Italians are really big on things that you wear near the sea, and things you wear in the mountains, and things you wear in the middle of the center. And with that will also increase how much you're stared at. And that is no matter who you are. And then it also will, and I guess this number 6 and number 7 will tie in together, right? So now we're at number 6 and 7, and that goes to pickpocketers. So a lot of people don't understand how much what they wear signals to people who are pickpocketers that you have a certain level of wealth. And you know that we all go out and we all do things because we want to, you want to do it for the gram. You want to make a nice video for TikTok. You want to do all of that stuff. And just like you're aware of the look that you're putting out for your followers, just know that it's going to also attract pickpocketers who will also follow you and try to make a quick buck off of you. One thing that I say to people, especially being a woman of color in Italy, is that I do feel safe. There are some times that I will admit that my mental health is something that I was getting frustrated with until I started to ask more questions. And having YouTube and having TikTok, I have a situation where I am able to actually I'm actually able to process all the things that I'm experiencing in Italy and get feedback and actually like have like the aha moments. But I feel really safe in Italy. Overall, I feel safe in Italy. And the threat that is the biggest thing is the threat of just basically pickpocketers. Crime in Italy typically exists, especially if you're talking about something where there is someone losing their life or something of that sort. It's usually within close proximity. Like it's like a husband and a wife, like two angry neighbors, children and their parents. Like that is something that's bigger than what you all think it is. So with that, you have these situations of okay, so then what is safe for me? Okay, it's pickpocketers. I mean, what will happen to me? Because obviously crime exists in Italy, and that crime is pickpocketers. So your attire connects with that because they will be able to point you out, because this person is wearing this and this person has on this watch and this person is wearing a little really dainty purse with a very, you know, like very thin strap. If I walk past them fast enough and this person gets their attention on here, they won't even notice that their bag is gone. So that is kind of one of the biggest things. I remember last year there was a woman, a beautiful black woman, who had made a video and it got reposted on one of the blogs that was for like black travelers. And they were saying how Italy was not safe for black travelers. And she was saying, actually, she was saying that she was, you know, talking to the camera about her experience, and she was in Naples. And she said she got off the train and an Italian woman came to her and she says, "Oh, you need to be careful here. It's not safe for you here." So I looked at it and I was like, this is not something that's really common. In general, it's not common for someone to come up and say that. There had to have been something else that made a person think that it was not safe for her. So then I went to her page. I looked at her, her thing, and she was wearing a really cute short set, like this, the color of this post-it here. And it was a cute short set with like a cute top. I think it was like, I don't know if it was like, it wasn't flowers, but it was like kind of like a ruffled thing here. It was really pretty. And she was wearing sandals and she was traveling with her husband. But that did not stop the Italian woman from saying to her, it was not safe for you here. So what did she mean? She was saying that what you're wearing in the color of your skin makes you a target for pickpocketers, because it's easy to follow you in a crowd. It's easy to find you in a crowd. And from what you're wearing, you are wearing something that says you're wealthy, and it's easy to dismantle you. So when I say dismantle you, if somebody grabbed your bag, you can't chase them because you're wearing flip-flops, things of that sort. So anyway, guys, that is my list of things that I think you should know before you do your summer travels in Italy. I don't think this video is too long, but you all can let me know down below if this is a good length or is it too long or whatever. I try to keep it real with you all. I really want you all to have a fantastic experience in Italy this summer. And if you have any questions on what you think I should make a video about, please comment down below. I'm going to start to respond to my TikTok comments. So if you are on TikTok, I'm going to start responding to some of your comments from TikTok on here. I think it's great content. People on TikTok have some fantastic questions. So I'm going to do that. And I think that's basically it. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day. Ciao, ciao.